Today I'm still here in Austin. Today's the last day. It's Friday. We're here at the Social Media Week, Austin, Texas. And today I just so happen to have Priscilla here with me because she was giving a talk. What did you call it? What?
Social media strategy mapping workshop.
Yeah, I didn't get that down.
It was a long title.
So I caught the tail end of it, and then somebody asked a question, and I told you yesterday, somebody asked a question that I thought was absolutely just, the way you answered it, the way you answered it, like, resonated with me. So I think somebody asked, what do you think about likes, or what, I don't remember how it was, but I think you said something about, and sorry if I'm gonna butcher this, you said something like, I don't really pay attention to that. That's more of like a vanity thing. Mm-hmm. What did you mean by that? Or do you remember the question?
Yeah, so the student, or how to put it, like the person who attended the workshop, she had asked my opinion on how did I feel about likes disappearing on Instagram. Uh-huh. And I think before, as it was leaking out, people were just kind of in the state of paranoia and like thinking like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Like, even for influencers, like, it was just, they were talking so much about how am I actually going to monetize my content if I'm not able to show brands face, like, with the face value that they can go on my profile and see what type of engagement I have. So everybody was going through this like kind of like paranoid state, and it was just like full on chaos. Everybody was just talking about it. But, and I guess it's still being hidden. It's slowly being rolled out. And I have my likes hidden, Instagram hid it. But once that came on board, like once I started getting the update, I was like, okay, great. All right. So now being, in the marketing team at Planoly, somebody in our team needed to understand how this actually worked rather than just seeing like what the rumors were. So I'm glad that I actually did have that.
It was you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, great. Like now we have an inside person who's actually seeing this. So now we can understand how it's actually going to affect our users. But as from a personal perspective, I was just like, wait, like I'm posting content now and I'm not even caring about likes. Because one thing that I definitely tell in my workshop, and then what I tell anybody who comes in for our workshops at Planoly, is that likes are a vanity metric, and they're a very passive form of engagement. For me, saves and shares are kind of like that golden nugget that you want to strive for when you're creating content. And so those are the ones that actually tell you, okay, you're actually having some type of value to your followers or, anybody who's trying to engage with your content. Because sure, like I can like your content, but if I'm not actually, if your users aren't actually commenting, if they're actually not sharing or saving, then what does that really do for your ROI within social?
Yeah.
So a like won't get you another sale. A like won't get you another follow. Maybe, people go on the Explore page and might like a piece of content, but when are they actually going to go back to that piece of content? So unless they actually go to like, photos I've liked. Okay. I don't think anybody really does that. But yeah, I mean, for me, likes now, I've completely changed my perspective in how I perceive likes. And even from a personal perspective, when I post content, I'm not looking at that number and thinking, oh my God, like I haven't gotten 10 likes within 10 minutes. What's going on? Yeah. So now it feels like a weight off my shoulders, and I don't know if anybody else who has had their likes hidden feels this way, but for me, I don't look at that vanity metric and think, oh my God, like my content sucks. Now I can actually focus on saves and shares and think of it like, okay, this is what's actually working. I'm now looking to create more content that's valuable, that even if I have like a long caption, that caption is going to hold some value. Like, sure, it's going to be like a pretty picture, but what is the caption actually going to have within the call to action that's going to engage my audience to share and save and comment? So,
yeah. So you said that it was you who was actually affected and hit by it. When you first seen it, did you really care if people were liking it at that point? Or just really, did you like wonder if people were interested?
I think
sometimes I feel like people look at the like and they think, well, how am I actually engaging? But then it is a vanity thing, right? Because all you're doing is just posting and spending your time for people to actually like it. But the call to action, right? Which is the save and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think before, when the likes weren't hidden, I was so worried about the number of likes. And on my own Instagram, and I think a lot of people were thinking this way. It's funny because I've dealt with like a few content creators where they look at something and they have like a certain metric of numbers that they want within their likes, and then they think, oh my God, I haven't gotten 100 likes within 30 minutes. I think I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to like hide it. It was just like, no.
That algorithm that we keep thinking that if the more likes we get, the better. And because that's part of the conversation. So I've been to a couple of conferences. A lot of the conversation is, as soon as, and it's the same thing with YouTube, as soon as you publish or as soon as you post, it depends on how many people actually like it, which is how the algorithm is going to like it, right? And we were always so like slaves to that, which is why we were worried about our likes.
Yeah, and I don't think it really frustrates me with the algorithm, and I've tried to shift my mentality with the algorithm instead of fighting it and thinking that you can you can have these hacks and then battle the algorithm. This is how you hack the algorithm. This is how you beat the algorithm. I think we should shift our mentality and think of like working with the algorithm, working with likes being hidden, and then and that's how I look at likes now. Like I'm not looking at, okay, it's been 10 minutes and I've only gotten like 5 likes. Okay, what's going on? I'm more concerned about the actual comments. I'm concerned about the conversation that's being built within the content. And I don't think I really, like, I always knew that was something I had to look at. But now that it's not there in my face, that's not what I'm looking at. I have to go take a few more steps to actually see the likes. It's not like that they're completely hidden from my, analytics. They're still there, but it's not the end of the world if you're not getting that type of, tons of comments. Look at the type of engagement that you're getting within comments, within saves, within shares, impressions, of course. And then so many other people, I mean, because we're a third-party Instagram partner at Planoly, people always ask us like, okay, I don't want to use a business account because I feel like my engagement's going to go down. But that shouldn't be an issue because one, like you shouldn't, I think people are forgetting to engage. And especially when they use like our auto post, they think, okay, I auto posted, now my engagement's going so low. Great. You have auto post set. We post that for you. But what's your engagement strategy afterwards? You have to build that. We're just kind of like an automation service, but you have to have some follow through. And people think that if you just post something that the likes are going to be falling in, and that's not it. It's all about the content creation aspect of it, like really the ideation, looking back at your analytics and understanding, okay, this piece you could have gotten 200 comments, but you didn't get any saves and shares. What is that? What is it about that? But maybe you could have gotten like maybe 150 likes on another post, but you got like 30 saves and shares. Some posts of mine, I've gotten low likes, but sometimes they get insane shares. And I'm like, who's sharing my content? What's going on over here? Like, what was it about that piece of content that triggered more people to see it and comment on it? So it's all taken it by very, how would I put it? Like, everything means something different, and just going at a vanity metric of likes isn't the right way to look at content. I think that's just like my gist of it.
I love that. I resonated with that very quickly as soon as you said it, and I gravitated towards that. I was like, she is right. It's those vanity likes that are getting to me. And somebody like you can explain it so well. But you mentioned I mentioned it also that you're a Planoly. Can you just tell me what you do at Planoly, or what is your title perhaps? Okay.
I'm Director of Product Marketing over at Planoly. So we come up with so many new features. And, aside from just our Instagram planner, we also have a Pinterest planner. We have our pin planner. And then on top of that, we also have a design tool called Stories Edit that allows people to create beautiful stories if they don't have access to a graphic designer, or if they're a small business owner and are kind of tight and just need something to do to make their stories look beautiful. Like, just because you don't have the resources doesn't mean that you can't create something beautiful. And for us, like, yes, we can definitely tell people how to use the product, but we're very education focused. We're try to do our research of what's going on in the space, so that way people can, of course, like, we can tell people how to use the product, but the product is so easy to use. For us, it's more of like, how do you actually tell you the strategy so that you can implement it on your social strategy even if it's beyond Planoly. We understand that not everybody's going to be using it. That's fine. We hope that people use us, but for us, education is really at the core of it. And then reminding people that if you are able to plan out your content on Planoly, schedule out everything, it'll actually allow you to take your time offline. Like we're a digital tool, but we want to encourage our users to remember that they can put their phone down, not worry about what they need to post at 3 o'clock on a Friday, and actually be able to breathe and like take time to, relax, or work on the things that are like, not tied to a computer, that are, enabling their growth for their small business or as a digital marketer. A lot of our users are small business owners, so sometimes they need the resources to make sure that they have their strategy set. So
to be able to breathe afterwards.
That's kind of how our founder created it. Our founder was a jewelry designer when she started Planoly, and it was just a tool for herself. But then she realized, okay, this is something that I actually need to share with my friends who are content creators, and they all loved it. So, and the reason why she started it was for her to have more time to dedicate herself to her family. And so it's something that wasn't started off as like a business idea, but it's grown, and now we have over 3 million users that kind of see the same need that she had back then. So it's really great to see that now we've been able to amplify small businesses and help them craft a really cool social strategy.
Yes, I think that's awesome. I don't want to take up too much time, but what would you like to share about Planoly, if you could share something?
Yeah, I mean, to the very core of it, like I said, we're a digital tool, but we don't want people to feel tied to being on their phones or on their laptop. There's so many people that try to do social media detoxes all the time, and I know that social media has
it has us in handcuffs. That's what it does. It has us on.
And it has like a stigma.
Sometimes,
there's like a lot of social media can be negative. It can be, you can find so many trolls. You can find you can be scrolling and then think like, oh my god, like I don't have what that person has, or it's kind of like a comparison game, and we're trying to dismantle that. So if you can create your content, be true to yourself, create a brand that's very genuinely you, without comparing yourself to everybody else, I think that would be like the goal at the end of the day. So it doesn't have to be where people have to take social media detoxes all the time. I mean, of course, like taking everything in moderation and actually being mindful when you're being on social media, being mindful with the content that you're creating. How is your content actually standing out and bettering the world that, probably like you might be following a bunch of people that are making you feel negative. You can unfollow them, but how are you going to actually create content that's going to, kind of dismantle that perception that people have. So it's just making social media a little bit better, and like bringing it from the heart instead of trying to sell something.
It started as fun, right? When it becomes work, and you're like, I work for my passion, but then when it becomes work where you're like, how people complain about their job, the 9 to 5. It's become like, sometimes I feel like Instagram has become that, and it shouldn't be. But I think Planoly definitely does help with that aspect of it.
And then people don't want to be sold to. People follow things or brands on social media. During my presentation yesterday, I mentioned a brand, Glossier, which I feel like does such a great job at really creating being a cult favorite, and that's why they've grown so much, because they've kind of created this safe space for their users and like a happy place for their customers, and they've started with the message and then they go with the product. And I think a lot of brands forget that. Somebody in the workshop yesterday asked me, what do you think like the cadence is for showing something that's promoting sales versus like original content? And I'm like, well, if I'm following your brand already, I'm most likely already buying something from you, so I don't want to be reminded that I want to buy something from you. Like for Glossier, I am always going to buy something from them because they always resonate with my own personal brand. And when they do sales, they'll use like Instagram stories ads or Instagram and feed ads. So you have to make sure that you differentiate the two, because people just don't like being sold when they're trying to get like a nice message or smile or be inspired within social media.
Every time somebody brings up brands that resonate with them, I always try to think about the brands that resonate with me. But it's never always a brand, but it's a thing that, you know, I mentioned very lightly earlier as we were having a pre-conversation before this. I talked about thrifting.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can never think of is actual thrift stores.
Yeah.
So there are things that resonate with me, and they're finally jumping on like on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're always like, it's always been like an underground thing.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with Glossier. Oh my God, I don't know. Glossier, yeah.
Glossier.
Yeah, they were underground for a moment,
Yeah.
right? And they do very well with their not only their audience but their customers.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they see them as friends, and I think that's really good. It's the way you talk about something. You know how you talk with a friend, and you're like, have you seen this? Or they'll see something on you, be like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, and how did you do that? And this is what I did. I think that's the kind of conversation Glossier has with
Yeah.
their I want to keep saying customers, but they're friends, you know?
Yeah, it's their community. I think that's the word,
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
rather than customers, because then it's like, okay, I'm selling to them rather than like
Yeah.
building this community of a safe space of happiness
Yeah.
and making people feel empowered. I think that's what they do so well with their content. They educate, they
Yeah.
inspire, they do so many things that's beyond just, okay, here's like this new product that just came out, buy it.
Yeah.
I never feel like that. And
Yeah.
I think it's really great doing that as a brand, understanding that you have to hit people in the heart first before they even buy a product. Because this is the difference. Like, for example, Casper. Casper is a mattress brand. Like, I like Casper because they resonate with me as a millennial. And they've built their brand to be so great, but mattress is not sexy. Like, I don't think of Mattress Firm and think like, oh yeah, I'm a diehard Mattress Firm like customer. Like,
I've never heard of them. Now I gotta go check them out. Now that we're talking about it,
Yeah.
you're mentioning it to me, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check them out.
yeah. And it's like Mattress Firm is like,
They're cool, whatever.
I don't care much
Yeah.
for it, but when it's Casper, I'm like, oh yeah, if I want to, next time I buy a mattress, it's gonna be a Casper mattress.
Oh, so you're already looking for they're gonna get your investments,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, because their branding resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's not the product.
Yeah.
It's like who I
The way they're
define
talking to you.
myself.
Yeah.
Like the way I define myself, and it's very almost like capitalistic, but like the way I define myself is very much with the products I buy. That's why people buy iPhone versus Android. Like it's all those little things.
Yeah,
So it's always touching back at the heart, and I think that's why certain brands are so successful on social and on digital. Yeah,
I can go on and on with this conversation, but to save people the space in their mind, just to like, or at least for my voice, I won't. But Priscilla, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course.
And of course, if they can find you aside from Planoly, can you tell them where else maybe?
Well, of course, Planoly. I do a lot of the webinars there. So we do monthly webinars every last Tuesday of every month. So just follow at Planoly.
Oh, awesome.
We give updates on when those webinars are coming live, but you can also follow me at Code of Conduct with all Ks on Instagram.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks so much.